Alright, today we are going to work on those other two rings that go here and over here. And here's a photo that Juan sent me. So it looks like the rings are going to be just about 3/4 as big as the ball itself. So and I built some rings the other day, but I think they're just a bit too small. So we're going to go ahead and make this next batch a little bit bigger. I've taken some 1/4-inch rod, and you can see it's all rusty, and I put it in the lathe and just hit it with some sandpaper and just cleaned up the surface a little bit. And now we're going to take it over to the bender and go ahead and make a circle. We've put our piece of rod in there and put a little vice grips on here because this bender doesn't really, as usual with Harbor Freight tools, they do almost everything that the official tool does, but not quite. So this bender doesn't really grab that well, but the pair of vice grips helps it. And basically come back. I think what we probably want to do at this point is go ahead and take off that 2 inches of straight material right there. Okay. Everything goes back in. Grip it again. This time we grip it a little bit further up the road. Swing it around. Almost got it. Let's grab it one more time. And just get a little bit more of a pull there. And I think we got ourselves mostly a circle. Although I think it kind of flattened out on me a little bit right in there. But I think I can deal with that. I just hit it on the anvil a little bit and squish this together. I think we've got a circle. All right, we're going to do one more, and I'll save you the details. Okay, we got this little flat spot right there. You can see it right there. And I can't seem to pound it out with the hammer. So what I'm going to do is weaken it a little bit, and then it should bend fairly easily. So just heat it up, get a not cherry red, but a dull red color. It's going to take a few seconds here. There it is. Good enough, and just tap it a little bit. That gets it a lot better round. We've got it fairly round. Let's see if we're pretty close to the other one, size-wise. I'd say we're pretty good. Okay. Now we've got just a little bit of a miss right here. You can see that. So I'm going to take it over in the anvil, or not the anvil, but the vise. Grab it on one side of the vise and just tweak it over a little bit to get it to straighten out. And this part doesn't have to be heated. We're just basically going to grab it. Oh, we've got to get it up above the edge there. There we go. And just grab it and bend it over till it matches. Now we can see that we're not quite matched up on that top edge. So now we just take it back to the anvil and tap it a little bit and get those things to square up. Then we can weld it, and then once it's welded, we'll come back in and really round this thing off. So back to the anvil. Really no big deal here. Couple little taps and that straightens it right out. Okay, so now we come in, and I think I'm just going to braze these two junction points, and then we're ready to make it round and then hook it up to the other piece. Okay, we brought these these rings into the jeweler's section of my studio, and you can kind of see that was the jeweler's bench. And now we're going to swing around over to the welding table and bring our view onto the rings, which are right here, and we're going to get ready and braze those up. Let me bring this in a little closer. Okay, we got the torch lit. Now we're going to take our brazing rod and dip it in the flux. Get a little good hit of flux on this. Now I've got it in the jeweler's area because this hood has an incredible vent on it. And with brazing flux and brazing rod, you really need to have good ventilation. So we're just going to come in here and heat everything up real good. There we go. So we're starting to get a nice little cherry color. Drop a drip of solder in there. And that's pretty much going to do it. Let's move this one off and put this one on. So we're starting to turn blue, 800 or so. As soon as we get up into the reds, we're about between 1,000, 1,100, and we're ready to drop a little brass in there. And just kind of keep the back side of it to soak it through, and that's good. Okay, so we've got both of these ready. We'll take them outside and have a look at everything and notice how all of they're both kind of wiggly this direction. We're going to put it on the anvil, pound them straight, get them nice and even, and then go ahead and file these the solder down a little bit to kind of smooth that out a little bit. So just go ahead and get started. Alright, these are still a little bit warm, but we're not going to worry too much about that. We can handle it with the pliers. See how it's got just a little bit of an arch there. So we just put it on the anvil, grab it on one end, and get the thing to flatten out a little bit. Okay, maybe we're going to have to cool it. Yeah, I got to be able to handle this more in order to get it to come down to where I want it to go. You got to find that flat spot. Now notice here, it's pretty flat, but it's torqued just slightly. So I think what I can do is drop that in the vise and go ahead and bend that a little bit in the vise. Okay, and that one I think looks pretty good. A little bit off. Just a little bit right here. Still got just a tad more. So we got the same issue. It's just a little bit torqued. Now the last one, I untorqued it, but then I also snapped the weld. So we've got to go back and resolder that. But that's, not that big a deal. And both solder joints broke. I think this time I'm going to leave just a little bit of a gap there so we have a place for the braze to adhere. So can you see that? Let's see if we can clarify. That's better. And you can see where they both just kind of opened up. No big deal. We'll go back to the welding table and shim up this whole thing in order to get it to kind of fit evenly on the you know, so that it's concentric and so that it's level this way and this way. And then I went in and I started with these smaller plugs, and obviously as soon as I got them cut, I realized, whoop, those are a little bit too short. So went back and cut some bigger pieces, longer pieces, thinner material. I think it's going to look better that way. And also, I didn't have any more of this material laying around, so let's just go with thinner. It'll be strong enough. Went in and cut, just like I did with these. I machined off one surface. Let's see which surface we got. There we go, on the lathe. And then in order to get the exact length, because I knew I needed an exact even amount of pieces, I came back and put it on the mill and just milled off that top edge at a precise level. So no problem there. And when I went back and did these, I did the same thing. Let's see. So I welded this little bottom piece, or brazed it. And now I'm going to come back to this corner over here, well, not a corner exactly, and braze that. And then I'm going to come back and do one more over here and braze that. And then I'll have them ready to go onto the ring itself and come back in and square everything up, level it off, make sure that everything is sitting correctly, and then go ahead and braze those 3 punches right, or points right there. Then turn this whole thing upside down and do it again. So we're going to go ahead and weld this. We've welded these 2 corners here, and we've got everything pretty well squared up around the edges here. And I believe, and I can't really tell because I can't look straight down on it, but I think we've got everything pretty well set up. And we're going to go ahead and just weld these joints so that it's firm, and keep our fingers crossed. So we'll bring the temperature up to pretty much a cherry red and drop the flux in there. And then fairly soon after, and I have to do it without touching that little rod because the little rod is just barely sitting there. There we go. Got a nice little joint there, and this little section here broke, so I'm going to redo this since I'm here. There we go. Almost there. Ready to take any second. Come on. You can do it. There it goes. Let me get a little bit more on it. We want it to be a nice, smooth transition. And there just isn't quite enough brazing on there to do that. And now it's starting to melt the steel rod, which is not good for the brazing. There we go. So we get a nice little smooth transition. So we've got, let's see, I need a pair of pliers. We got this part. How is that for square? It looks pretty good. I think that's going to do just fine. And then bring this back around. Uh-oh, this side doesn't look good though. Dude, not a bit. Okay. Here, let me spin this around. You can see that that this whole side is low. See it? But we've got room here, so basically we'll just tweak this up a little bit and then bring this down so that it touches, and I'm guessing that the whole thing will square up.